All right, let's see if we're going. Pardon me. We'll give YouTube a moment here. Hopefully everyone is doing well out there. Let's go, YouTube. All right, we're rolling. I am Drew Badger, the founder of EnglishAnyone.com and the English Fluency Guide, and today we're going to talk about my favorite subject, which is how to speak fluently. All right, I wanted to give really a lot more examples today. Tsubasa, look at that right there at the beginning. Ohio. Do you not have, aren't you in college? I can't really see from your picture if that's you. Or maybe you should be working right now. Are you on spring vacation? All right. So if you do have questions as we go, like usual, I want to go through this. It's actually probably not that long of a video today. We'll see how it goes. But this was, or it will be, an answer to a question that I've had. But this one is specifically from one of our members. So I wanted to go over it in a little bit more detail. So nice to see everybody there. Let's see. NN, Annette there, Sita. The manager is here. Nice to see you right at the beginning. Manisha, nice to see you there. Ariam, nice to see you there. I'm going to guess that is that Anya? I don't know how to read that Cyrillic. I need to learn how to read Cyrillic so I can read that. But nice to see you from Ukraine, Maggie, Tom, nice to see you there, Ray, Jerima, look at that. Welcome everyone. Nice to see everybody. Well, a whole bunch of people. Difference between have and own. Well, you could have something but not own it. Like as just an example, and this is something we'll talk about in this video where we want to give your brain lots of naturally varied review. We want to compare different things to help you understand things within English. So just a quick example right at the beginning of this video, which is very nice, very helpful, the difference between having something and owning something. So I could have something, like I could have this marker, but this isn't my marker. I don't own this marker. I'm just kind of controlling it or using it right now. So you could have something and not necessarily own it. I also like have short hair or green eyes or a purple shirt. I guess I do own the purple shirt because it is mine, but I wouldn't really say I own my eyes. I mean, you kind of can, but typically we use the word own for property. So have is, you can imagine have is like a kind of bigger, like a wider range of situations, and then own would be in here, like that. So there are many things you could have, but not necessarily own. Like I have a wife, but I don't own my wife. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So that's just a very quick example of how to understand something in English the same way a native would. And this is the kind of thing that I would explain to my kids when I'm teaching them. So today's video, actually, I want to talk about phrasal verbs. I get a lot of questions about this and people enjoy learning them, and for good reason. Phrasal verbs are incredibly important for you to learn because they're so common, so commonly used in everyday speech and in really any situation. So you could be learning them in or using them in business or in personal everyday communication while you write or while you listen or speak, anything, anytime really, phrasal verbs are being used. And so this was a question from a learner where he was concerned about, let's say, it's a pretty simple phrasal verb, but just to understand this thing, to run off. So again, a phrasal verb, just if you're not familiar with these, it's really like a verb with a preposition, usually just one of these each. Sometimes you will have like an additional one, like run off with is a different, slightly different word, a slightly different phrase. But the idea, just so you really understand phrasal verbs, the idea of them is how can we take some simple vocabulary, some very easy words, and put them together, run and then off, and then instead of using something like, let's say a word like escape. So if we imagine there could be a meaning where, now this isn't always true, sometimes people are running off but they're not escaping, but the point of this is just to show you we can take like two simple words and use them to mean some longer, more complex thing. And this is why, especially for people learning the language, if you can really understand these simple words, then you can put them together in different ways to make lots of different things that are more complicated, but you don't really need to know all that complicated vocabulary. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is a big reason why native English-speaking children also know and use lots of phrasal verbs, because they're trying to explain things that are more difficult, but they just don't know that vocabulary yet. So I say, oh, someone ran off. Like someone maybe stole something and they ran off, like it means like they escaped, as an example. Okay, so run off could mean different things, and I want to help you understand how natives think about phrasal verbs, just as an example for how to learn to speak fluently. All right. Now, before we start, I do want to say this video will not teach you how to use everything about the language in one day fluently. So even native speakers don't know how to do that. Really, the point of this video is just to show you how you can take something specific and learn to use it fluently. And the way you're able to do this is by understanding that vocabulary very well. And this just means you're really eliminating any doubt that you have about the vocabulary. All right. So if you have doubts about the pronunciation or the use of something, that will stop you from using it. And so this is for words or grammar or anything else. So the point is to really understand something very well, which is what I'll help you do in this video. And that's how you start speaking fluently. All right. Hopefully everybody's excited. Before we begin, let me just quickly check chat. See if I missed anyone. Jesus is there, hello, or maybe Jesus from LA. Nice to see you there. Serious mode activated. Nice to see you there with a silly face. Mathematic. Oh, that's an interesting name. Have a good lesson. Yeah, that's the plan. Yo, Colso, says Tom. Hello, greetings from Tennessee. Happy to catch this live, says Juan. Bonsoir. Mr. Professor, says Chaco. Hi from South Korea. Nice to see you there, Aram. Danya. Oh, I was pretty close. I think I said like Anya. But Danya in Cyrillic in Ukraine. Yes. Mustafa says, hello, how are you? I hope all are fine. All. Please, friends, let's give Drew lots of likes. It helps the channel. Yes, Sita. Thank you as usual. Habib says, hello, lovely teacher. I'm watching your videos from the saddest country, Afghanistan. Really? I don't think Afghanistan. It's like a pretty cool place, I hear. It's like a shame what's happened to it over the years, but I think the people there are like pretty strong from what I hear. Doesn't sound like a sad place. Jonathan says, hi, sir. Dillis is from Indonesia. All right, look, we're getting like too many comments to go through. Let's get right into it. All right, so this learner had asked about the word run off, and it was just talking about, I'll give you the example sentence. The players, and of course we get an ambulance or a fire truck or something like that. The players ran, so this is the past tense, ran off. So this is another thing to keep in mind about when we're talking about phrasal verbs. Like we wouldn't say like run, as an example, run, like try to put this in the past tense. I know it seems a little bit weird, but the verb becomes the past tense and nothing changes about the second part of that. Okay, so the players ran off the field. Let's just say, so the players ran off the field. And this is, you can think about players on like, like football players or soccer or baseball or whatever. So anytime we have a field like this, so the players ran off the field. Now he was having a little bit of trouble understanding this and was thinking maybe I should just get a translation of the word. And I said, no, before you do that, Actually, I want you to try something different, which is looking at different examples to understand how this works. All right. So again, there are two different ways to learn English. I haven't really talked about this in a while, but it's a good reminder for everyone. Remember, you have basically two ways of learning. There is the English as a second language approach, which is where you would, if you don't understand something, we take a translation. So we try to learn something through a translation. The problem with that, of course, is that if you learn something through a translation, you have to think through that translation when you speak. So it stops you from speaking, all right? And again, it's at the very base of this, it's all about doubt. So people have some kind of doubt about using the language, and that's why they don't speak, all right? So if you're not confident about a word, you won't speak, all right? It's very simple. So the opposite of this is to learn English as a first language. And this is what I do on this channel, which is just helping people understand everything all in English, the same way a native would. So we've got two ways to do this. We can translate, or we can try to understand everything in English, all right? So we'll just say understand in English. All right, so what I recommend is actually looking at different examples of, if we imagine some players. I'm not going to draw these very well. You know, my quick writing is not the best in these videos. So we imagine a couple of players on the field. Actually, let me do this better. I think I have some for all my, oh no, like the one day I don't have a bunch of magnets on the board. Usually we have like a bunch of magnets on the back of this, but I do not. And I don't have anything else to use. So I guess we'll just have to go with pictures here. So we have a bunch of players on the field, and if they're moving quickly, we're looking at running, so they're actually running off the field. So right now they are on the field. So the players are on the field, and so they run off the field. All right. So basic idea, we're just talking about like what kind of movement they're doing, and maybe how they're doing it, or where they're doing it, or what direction they're moving in. That's what a phrasal verb is really trying to do. It's like, what happened, where did it go, or in what way, how did something happen? All right, so without needing to translate, let's look at a couple of different ways the players might leave the field, okay? So we can talk about the players leaving. So the players leave the field. Right now they are on the field, and then maybe we erase that, and then they go off the field over here. So they're leaving the field by running. They are on the field. Now they are off the field. So that's why we talk about running off. They're going from here to over here. So it's just talking about leaving, but it's a little bit more specific. So if we change the example a little bit, what if the players walked off the field? So instead of running, they're just moving at a slower pace. All right, so it's the same basic idea. The players walked off the field. Now maybe we get an even sillier example, like the players flew off the field. Now we can talk about actual flying, like they go up into the air, or we just mean moving really quickly, like the dog just like flew across the yard. So we're talking about a dog running very, very fast, and we can describe that as flying. Isn't that interesting? So we can talk about leaving. So some players are on the field and now they are off the field, but we can talk about the way in which they do that. So how does someone go from being on the field to off the field? All right. So we can talk about walking off the field, or running off the field, or flying off the field, or we can talk about even swimming. Imagine some players like swimming off the field, if they, if you could do that. Like, we can imagine them just pretending to do that. But if someone was talking about this, it's like, oh, the players are swimming off the field. They're swimming off the field, all right? So we can take different things like this, talk about the way someone is doing something, and rather than trying to translate, we're just trying to understand everything in English by comparing different English words, all right? And this eliminates the doubt we have about things, and then that helps us feel confident about speaking, all right? So that's really where the fluency comes. People don't get fluent by just magically living in the United States. There are lots of people who live in the United States or Canada or Australia, and they still can't speak fluently. All right. So being in a particular country doesn't help you speak. What actually helps you speak is eliminating the doubt that you have that stops you from speaking. All right. So the doubt is what causes you to stop speaking. That's what steals your confidence. And so if you can take some more time, instead of translating, look at some different things in English to help you understand that. All right. Now let's look at another example of run off. So we have here one example where we have players are on a field. We might also, if we imagine a roof, so we have the roof of a house and it's raining right now. Just as an example, we might talk about the water. So the water is going very quickly here. The water is the same thing, running off the house. Isn't that interesting? So the water, or we can just say the rain runs off and we can just say the roof or the house, the roof. So the rain runs off the roof. Same example. So the rain is going down. It's going down pretty slowly or pretty fast, depending on how we want to describe that. The water is running off the roof. The water is running off the roof. So remember, right here, it's on the roof, the same way these players are on the field, and now it's going off the roof. All right. So we're talking about how quickly or what kind of movement, or is it like slowly sliding off? Like the rain could be like sliding off. The rain is sliding off the roof. So we talk about this same kind of motion, sliding off. We could even say the rain is flying off the roof if we're talking about it's really coming down very fast and it's really leaving the roof very quickly. Same idea. So in the same way that we have players on a field, you could have rain on a roof. And then look at that. Now it's leaving. So the rain is running off the roof, just like we have the players running off the field. Okay, so this is understanding kind of the first part of something simple with a phrasal verb, and we can also talk about we can begin to get more examples. Like if I mentioned at the beginning of this video or earlier in this video to run off with. So if we have to run off with something, it means I am leaving and I am carrying something with me. So I ran off with something. Like someone stole my water. They ran off with my water. So they ran off and they're holding my water at the same time. So they ran off with something. Or we could take a more figurative example and think like, wow, some guy ran off with my girlfriend. Oh no. So I have a girlfriend, but some, I don't know, maybe bigger, stronger guy or something came and he I don't know, he ran off with my girlfriend. All right. So as we look at these different things, we're essentially trying to build a network in your mind of all these different examples that really help you understand something in English. And as you understand, each time you get a new example, this is, again, what I call naturally varied review. We don't want to just repeat the word run off over and over and over. That doesn't really help us understand anything. We want to get different examples that help us understand the vocabulary better. All right. So we want to think, okay, so players are running off the field, or the rain is running off the water, or like here's another idea, like a duck. So here's a duck sitting in the water, like rain is like running off the back of the duck. Same idea as the roof, so it's running off, but it could be running off a roof or running off something like that. And then we could even get like other examples. Let's say we have a copy machine. And I want to quickly, this is where we get the word run. We're trying to talk about something moving quickly. So I have a copy machine here. So I need to make some copies. Let me run off some copies very quickly here. So I need to print a bunch of copies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm running them off. So I'm printing them quickly. Same idea. All right. So it's like they are here, but now they're over here. All right. Same idea. So something is kind of on or in or whatever, but now it's moving to the off position. So when we're looking at these things, interestingly, it's better to look at them together and then compare this with other things, and that will actually help you understand the individual words better. So when you look at running, oh, isn't that interesting? So here we have actual legs on players as they're running off of a field, but water doesn't have any legs, or copies don't have any legs. They're still running, though. It's that same idea of motion, and that's why we call it running, because we're moving at a faster speed. All right? So I could print off, like print, and there's nothing really different between print and print off. I need to print off some copies. Typically, like the kind of phrasal verb, or this way of connecting a preposition with a verb, it makes it sound a little bit more natural and conversational. So you can say, it's perfectly fine to say, I need to print something. But you also hear, I need to print off something, or I need to print something off. All right? So I need to print off something, or I need to run off some copies. All right? Hopefully, does anybody have any questions about this? The main idea, we're focusing on this one phrasal verb and trying to help you understand it more like a native, like the same way a child would understand it, rather than just getting a translation of the word. Let me know if you have any questions about this, but it should be pretty easy to understand, and you should notice as you get more examples, you feel more confident about them. So let me know. I didn't want to take a real long time. This is actually a pretty simple thing to understand. So teaching you about the phrasal verb, but more importantly, how to think about learning when you're getting these examples. So if you don't understand something and you want to develop fluency in it, look for related examples, or how can we compare this to something else. So I might run off, or walk off, or fly off, or jog off the field. So I'm not walking, I'm not running, I'm jogging off the field. Okay? And then we can think about how do we change this, maybe like to run over something, or run away, or run into something. All right? So again, I'm trying to take these and build a network in your mind that helps you understand these things like a native. Yes, so if someone is like running down the stairs, we're talking about, we're still like on a staircase as an example. So if I'm moving quickly, I'm running down the stairs. Or I could be jumping down the stairs, or I could be jumping up the stairs. All right? So we're talking about the motion, and then where are you going, or how are you doing it? Okay? So let's take a look at run again. If we have, let's say two, we're going to imagine these are cars over here, and I'm going to take these markers and they run into each other. All right, so they're moving fast, and boom, oh, we have a car accident. The cars ran into each other. Okay, so we have something maybe that's running away from something else. So I'm running away, or I ran away with. So we have run into, or we have run away. Again, we're trying to take these things and use them to help compare with other things. And that helps you understand it in English. Understand in English, rather than trying to think about it through your native language. All right? This is how you understand in English. This is how you can learn to think without translating, so you speak fluently. Okay? Let me go back and check chat. If you like more examples of different phrasal verbs or something completely different, let me know. But hopefully this idea should make sense. Look at that. We've been going for about 20 minutes. And I think people are getting it. But let me know if you still have questions. All right. Let's see. So hello. Let's see. I want to go like quickly through all these. Pardon me if I don't respond to everybody. I'm just looking for specific questions. But yes, it is nice to see people from all over the world. Sto says good video. Bruno, nice to see you there. Example, she has run off with, yes, so you would say like she ran off with someone. So she ran off with a boy or the something, whatever, she ran off with something. And typically, in a figurative example, and I mean figurative like the woman might not be physically running with someone, but maybe they get in a car and drive away. And in that case, we might say like drive off, all right? But the phrase to run off with someone, typically like you could do that without like breaking up another relationship. Maybe you just very quickly want to get married, like let's say my daughter runs off to Mexico to get married, just, I don't know, for some reason, who knows. But like, if something like that happens, we're just talking about the action, even if they're not physically running, okay? So this is how we take phrasal verbs and then start to make the examples much more interesting, and then we can expand how we use them into other situations that might not be physically running, all right? Let's see. Diana says, hello, the biggest English teacher. I don't know if I'm the biggest. Maybe I'm putting on some weight over here. I'm so happy to be here learning English. It's my pleasure. Kevin, nice to see you there. Boa noite aos Brasileiros. Okay, that's for my Brazilian learners over here. I'm guessing that means good evening. Brazilian in the house tonight. Yes, remember to like the video. One example, the thief ran off when he saw the police. Yes, so that's another example. We have a person in some location, or they are like in a house or on some field or whatever. It doesn't matter. You could be inside or on something. And then to leave quickly, to escape, you are running off, because you're not on that position anymore. Now you're off. On, off, on, off, on, off. So I'm here, and now I'm someplace else. All right, I'm running off. All right, so someone is running off with my purse. Yes, that would be another good example. So someone can leave, you hold something. Oh no, someone is running off with my water. Someone took my water. All right, Anna says, good night, greetings from everyone. Looks like lots of actually people from Brazil in the video today. Greetings from Iraq, from Kenya. Teacher, I hope you have a happy April when you say hello in Korea. Nice to see you there. Yeah, I don't know how do you say, it's like 안녕하세요 or 감사합니다, I think, I forget. My Korean is pretty bad. Jose says, me too, first time on the live. Nice to see you there, and the best ever. Sorry I'm late. Marcial from Chile. Eunice says, so ran off can also mean like place in order to live. Yes, I've just seen that on Google. So ran off can also mean a place in order to live with. Well, again, like the idea typically means if it's like a person who's leaving, like leaving one place and going to another place, but they're doing it quickly. That's the idea. Even if they don't physically run, so like a thief has a physical thing and they are physically running away, or they're trying to get away, we would just call that running off. But if we want to talk about like somebody getting married or moving to a different location very quickly, then you can also talk about that as running off. All right. And typically, like running off in that situation, it's often like a negative thing. Like people are not thinking so much, they're not planning what they're doing. Someone just ran off and did something. Like I ran off and built a house in, I don't know, like in the middle of a river or something like that. So just like a weird thing, I decided to do something very quickly. I ran off and did that thing. I ran off. All right, some more good questions over here. Aaron says, did you delete all of your videos in your website and upload them on YouTube? No, we have different videos on our site and different videos on YouTube. So all of the videos are still here on YouTube, and we have all of our other videos on our site. Typically what we do in YouTube videos is explaining the principles of learning. So if you want to get fluent by yourself, you can do that, or you can have us help you, and we just take you step by step to help you understand everything like a native. So you can do it by yourself, but we just make it a lot faster and easier and guarantee fluency. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can click on the link in the description below this video. Jesus or Jesus, look at that, a couple of Jesuses here after Easter Sunday. Let's see, teacher, then we can say the roof works to run off the water. I mean, avoid anything in the house will suffer any damage by water. Yes. So here, like, run can be like something is running, or I'm helping it do something else. Like, again, like I'm running a meeting or running a business or something like that. So the water could be running, or we could talk about the roof, like helps water run, or the roof runs the water off. All right, so that's what a roof is designed for. That's why we have a sloped roof, so anything we get snow or rain or something, and it runs off. Then we talk about that. All right. Let's see. All right, Adrian says, hi, I've worked, you mean I am working on a contract or working at a contact center since last December, and it's been an amazing experience and learning a lot. Okay. I'm running out of time. Yes, that's another example, to be running out of time. And if this example is a little bit more difficult to understand, you can imagine like an old hourglass. So an hourglass or a minute glass, we have usually some kind of container, and it's got some sand in the top, and it goes kind of like this. So we have like an amount of sand over here, and the sand is going through down into the bottom, and then we can flip it over. So you might have a minute timer or an hour, something like this, an hourglass or a minute. Typically we don't say like a minute glass, but an hourglass for these larger things, because it will be made out of glass. Maybe the minute one is just a little plastic thing. But anyway, like the time is running out. So it's running from here. So it's in this section, and now it's going down into this one. So it's running, time is running out. Okay. So if you need help thinking about that phrasal verb in that way, like why do we say running out? This is a way to think about that. Time is running out. So we are losing time. We have less time. All right. I know I'm getting too many comments here. Okay, let's see. All right, I found it again. All right, can we say run off with mind? I don't know. I don't think so. I suppose you could say that, but I don't know what exactly you would mean by that. Like to run off with someone's mind. Like, nah, we typically wouldn't say that. But let me know if you have a particular situation you're trying to explain. I can probably give you a better way to say it. Solomon says, hello. Nehomar says, from Venezuela, you are my inspiration. Wow, amazing. Well, thank you. Glad to be inspiring. Vida says, I just want to say huge thanks to you. Your channel was one of the first that changed the way to my approach to learn English, and I finally get in the right direction. Glad to hear it. If you know other people we can help, please send them our way. English with Village Guy from India. Nice to see you there. God bless you. Well, it's my pleasure. Mr. Badger, I've watched many video on learning fluency on YouTube, but no one can teach like you. You are the best. I am getting confident just because of you. Please make regular videos. Well, yeah, that's what we do. So we have regular videos on the channel. I try to make a video at least once a week, maybe, sometimes twice a week if I have time. But if you want everything already done for you, that's what we have in Fluent for Life. So you don't need to wait. I do try to teach some kind of vocabulary. I know people are always trying to learn new vocabulary, even though this video really is an example of you needing to focus on vocabulary more until you understand it and feel confident about it. All right, that's really the goal, and that's how you can become fluent today. So you can become fluent today in individual words and phrases as you understand them. But that confidence comes from understanding, and then you speak. That's how the process works. I had somebody ask me today how I can help them if I don't have them speak with native speakers, and I said, well, you know, you can go find some native speakers to speak with and let me know if that helps you get fluent. The alternative is just to understand the language better. So you don't need to spend your time talking, because talking it's really just going to repeat what you already know. The way you actually improve in a conversation is by listening to what other people are saying. All All right, so that's very important, and that's how you really can improve by yourself. Let's see. I'm working on an English program. I see. Gotcha. All right. Hater says, I want to ask you, how can we learn English from a book? Well, it depends on what kind of book you're talking about, but find something you're interested in and read it. And hopefully the book should be something at your level. So if your level is really low, read children's books. And if you can read and understand something higher than that, then get more difficult books. It's pretty easy. But the point is, if you think more about where you struggle or what specific words or phrases give you difficulty. So rather than like trying to get fluent in English, you get fluent in something. So this video is trying to help you get fluent in the phrasal verb run off. But by doing this, you also learn other uses of run off or other phrasal verbs. Okay? And again, we're trying to do this all in English to make you feel much more confident and understand it the same way a native would. Could you please pick up advanced vocabulary in your next video? Yes, like I made videos. Actually, we have lots of videos. We teach thousands of words in Fluent for Life, thousands of words and phrases. And this is probably the most, I don't know, the trickiest thing about what I do is like people want to learn advanced vocabulary, but their basic vocabulary is actually quite weak, and that's what's really stopping them from speaking. So there are people who want to just keep learning more words, and it's easy to teach vocabulary, but you really should be reviewing it in the right way. So I know it's like the trickiest thing about what I do. So the teaching is really easy, but learners are often less interested in the thing they actually need to learn. So if I say, hey, we're going to review some basic information, and people are like, well, no, I know that already. I say, well, why don't you use it fluently then? Why aren't you using it confidently? And they just like, well, I don't know. And so it's a tricky thing for people, but if you, like I'm speaking to you out there, if you can control yourself and you can think, okay, I don't feel maybe quite so confident about saying this, let me learn a little bit more about it. Just spend a little bit more time on something before you move to that advanced vocabulary. Because advanced vocabulary isn't going to help you speak. What's really going to help you speak is, if you even listening to me speak right now, I'm using a lot of basic vocabulary, but I'm speaking fluently, all right? So the kind of vocabulary it's actually very, it doesn't really have much to do with how well you speak, all right? So I continue to make that just because those videos are more popular, but it's often a waste of time for people, unfortunately. I think you mentioned that when talked about a guy ran off with your girlfriend. Yes, so again, you could have someone like leave with someone else. So like a guy ran away with, that's another way of saying it. And this is another point that you learn as you're trying to build this network. You could have like run away with or run off with. These are two different ways of expressing the same situation for leaving with a person like that. So if I'm dating someone, like the same idea, they run off with someone else or they ran away with someone else, that kind of thing. All right. Let's see. Francis says, hi, I watched your videos. It's excellent. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Namor says, what do you think about grammar? What's the first thing that an English learner should know? Grammar or conversation? Well, the way a native speaker learns a language, they don't separate vocabulary and grammar and pronunciation as different things that you learn. You learn all of them together. All right. Do I need to give my Japanese lesson? Now that I don't have my markers, I have fewer things over here. But here, let me give you a very quick lesson in Japanese. Get some things over here. Yeah, I don't even have like much stuff over here, but here we'll just use our markers like usual. So これはマーカーね、マーカー、黒いマーカー、黒、赤いマーカー、赤いマーカー、赤 赤、赤。何これ青いマーカー。青。そう、これは赤いね。赤いマーカー、黒いマーカー、青いマーカー。何色かな？何色？色は黒、赤、青。黒いマーカー、黒い財布。Okay? Now, you might not have understood everything I just said, but you're slowly getting it. Oh, he's teaching grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation at the same time. Okay? Leonardo says English, not Chinese. That's Japanese, actually, but... but anyway, the point of that example is to show you that a native speaker of any language is learning that way. So when people say, should I learn grammar? It's, of course you should learn grammar, just like you should learn vocabulary and pronunciation. But how you learn all this information is really important. So if you take information and you're learning it the traditional way by translating or reading textbooks that don't really help you understand something, then that's what's going to have you or cause you trouble to speak. Okay, so how you learn is how you speak. You've probably heard me say this many times. How you learn is how you speak. So if you learn through translations, you will think through translations when you speak. You will think, I can't remember, how do I say something? And that's when you get stuck in conversations. So when people talk about, I can't speak because I lack confidence, it means they really have doubt about the vocabulary because they're trying to learn through translations instead of just really understanding something like a native. Okay? So as I give you these examples, you might not remember any of those words in 5 minutes. It's okay. But if I come back tomorrow, and many people, I kind of give this example again and again so that people who have seen this before, they will remember and it will come back to them. Oh, like, yeah, I remember what that is. And a native is just getting more of those examples faster. So if you think about a child being at home with native parents, they're getting all these examples, helping people understand things over and over and over, and that's how they're able to get fluent so quickly. It's because the parents or the teachers or other people in a child's life are helping them understand that vocabulary really well. I'll tell you a very quick story. This happened yesterday. So I was playing with my kids at home, and I think so my older daughter, there was like a toy or something on a table. So just a small table on the floor. I'll draw my little table here. So there was like a toy or something, and I was sitting over here, and she was sitting by the table. And I said, "Oh, like, where did you get that toy?" So she had a toy like in her hand, and it was on the table before. So I said, "Where did you get the toy?" And she said, "Oh, like, I got it off the table." So this is that same use of being on the table or off. So I got it off the table. I got it off the table. But at first she was like not feeling so confident about saying that. So I could tell what she was going to say. Oh, I got it off, like, oh, I got it off the table. But she changed what she was going to say, and she said something different. It was in English still, but she said, like, oh, it was on the table. These are two different ways of expressing the same thing. So you have an object, a toy or something on a table, and I said, "Oh, where did you get that?" And she said, "Oh, I got it off the table," or "It was on the table." So there are many more ways that you could express this same idea. So as a native, because she is developing this network in her mind of how to express things, she's thinking about a situation like an object on a table, and then, oh, there are actually many ways to say that. And she will pick the way that she is feeling most confident about. And so as a learner of English, you can do the same thing as you get these different examples and you feel more confident. But when you translate, typically you only get one example of something and you don't feel very confident about using it. Or if people in, like the person you're speaking with doesn't use that vocabulary, then you feel stuck because, oh, they didn't use the vocabulary I learned in the textbook, okay? So again, this is why I give all these examples to really help people understand things in English, okay? If you understand in English, then you will feel much more confident, and that's what actually allows you to speak. All right, let's see here if I got through that. All right, so hopefully that makes sense about like learning grammar. So like, understanding grammar is understanding vocabulary, is understanding pronunciation. All of these things, culture, all of that is all connected as one thing. So the point is not to just study some grammar rules, it's to like really understand what's happening. Like we have, like this is grammar right here, to take off the marker cap. So I take off the cap, all right? So if I'm learning, even like teaching you that the Japanese example, if I say aoi maka, kuroi maka, your brain is learning the grammar naturally. Your brain thinks, oh, that's interesting. You have the adjective before the noun, just like it is in English. All right, so a blue marker, aoi maka, kuroi maka. Okay, so I'm giving the same example in Japanese. And so you understand it without needing the translations. So you're understanding pronunciation, you hear how people are using it, you hear how the grammar works because you're connecting the sounds or the words with the situation. So this is the situation, just these things right here. Kuroi maka, aoi maka. Okay, so you're able to learn this and you understand it better because I'm comparing these two things, just like I'm comparing these different examples over here. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So the goal here is to eliminate doubt, and we do that by comparing different things all in English until you understand something. And when you understand, you will feel like, I got it. I got it. All right, I'm running out of food. It's another example. Yes. So same thing. Anytime we have something and we're losing that thing, I'm running out of gas. I'm running out of milk. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of patience. Okay? So I'm getting irritated, I'm getting frustrated, I'm running out of patience. So this is, you can think about how much of this I have, and I'm losing it. It's draining away, it's leaving. Okay? So all of these things, this is how we understand like something physical like this. So we have like, let's say, so this could be something physical, it could be sand in here, or it could be water, or gas, or milk. So we take the understanding of something physical and then we use it for something not physical, like time. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of, what's something else? I'm running out of patience. I'm running out of willpower, as an example. So if you have willpower, maybe you see some delicious cookies or chocolates or something on a table. At first you think, no, I'm not going to eat those. But, oh no, I'm running out of willpower. So willpower, it kind of works in the same way, where like you need energy to stop yourself from doing it, okay? But all these things we can use. This is why phrasal verbs are so powerful, because they help you understand these things about the language, and yet they show you that if you understand it in English, look at that, we can apply it to something else. All right? So I'm running out of time, running out of energy. Okay? Does that make sense? So anytime we're doing something like that, we have an amount of something, we're losing it, very useful. And so we can talk about this without using a longer or more complicated word or that advanced vocabulary that everybody loves. Like I could say I'm like reducing that, or it's I don't know, like it's decreasing over time, or it's reducing, like I just said. So both of those examples are fine, but it's much easier and faster, and even a child can understand. Look at that, running out of something. Okay. So if you're running out of something, you're talking about losing it, and you're talking about how quickly you're losing it. It's like, wow, we're running out of time. Oh no, we like time is, it's like going by faster. So you hear this in movies, like we're talking about running out of time, then the characters are, oh no, they get really excited, or they're really worried about something because, whoop, you're really draining this thing quickly. So yes, going back to that question about learning advanced vocabulary, like I think maybe I'll just do a video about advanced vocabulary and how to say it like a native. I'll do a video about that. So I can teach advanced vocabulary, but actually show people what people would regularly say about that. Look, all right, let's see, where do we go here? So yeah, my patience is beginning to run out. Yes, that's true. So thanks. Let's see. Robert, Robat, nice to see you there. Oh, Olympia, nice to see you there. Adrian again. Hi, I've been working in a call center. That's what you mean, call center since last December. It's been an amazing experience. I learned a lot. I think getting exposed to the language besides the frustration is the best way to learn, and watching your videos helped me a lot, review some topics, and continue to increase my knowledge. Glad to hear it. Yes, and so you'll notice, like, I remember speaking with a Japanese woman a few years ago. I think I've told this story before. This is a woman who worked, I don't know if she still works, but she worked at that time at a hotel, and she was asking me about improving her English. And I said, oh, well, you work at the front desk of a hotel. And so when you get foreign speaking tourists or foreign guests, or just English-speaking guests in your hotel, that's your chance to practice whatever, some specific thing until you get it right. And so you can review things or hear different ways that natives express things. And this is why you can watch a YouTube video. There'll be lots of YouTube videos about, like, here's how to order food at a restaurant or something. But not everybody talks like that. One person might say that, but 10 other people might say something different. So you really need to get more examples of how people are doing those things. All right. Let's see. For example, my car ran out of gas while I was driving on the highway. Yes. So that's what we're talking about. If something is running through your mind, you cannot stop thinking about it. Yes. So if you can imagine your brain, so this is your head over here. We imagine the brain up here. It's like an idea is like running through your head around over and over and over again. That idea moving quickly, all right, running. So we're talking about the speed running through your brain. Oh, that song has been running through my head all day, running through. Let's see. Can I say I ran out of options? Yes, same idea. So if we have options, it's another thing over here. Like maybe I thought I could do this and that, but really I can't. So I have no options. Now I am all out. I'm all out of options. So I'm running out of options. Receiver says, I was late for half an hour. What are we talking about today? We're talking about becoming fluent by understanding vocabulary very well. All right. And it doesn't, I'm spending more time on this. It doesn't really take a long time. It's a personal thing for each word or phrase you are learning. So you don't need to spend a lot of time reviewing something. It's just get enough examples that you feel confident about the way to use it, or the grammar, or the pronunciation. That's how you feel confident. When you feel confident that you will say something in a conversation, then you would be able to use it confidently. All right. So that's when you really start speaking. So it's not by just repeating things again and again. The point is to understand things well. Let's see. Teacher is democratico. I don't know what that's referring to, though. Have you heard about passive and active vocabulary? Speaking with natives or not natives is just to practice. What do you think about that? So your passive vocabulary, it's easy to think about this as like the vocabulary you know pretty well and you can understand that. And your active vocabulary, so we'll put like passive vocabulary is here, and your active vocabulary is a smaller group within that. These are the words that you actually feel confident about saying, all right? And what this teaches us is that there are actually different levels of understanding. So I've talked about this in other videos. I go specifically into detail about like what I call the 3 levels. So there's kind of the lowest level and then the highest level up here. So the lowest level down here is when you're basically exposed. I call it exposure. So you might hear some vocabulary, but you don't understand what it means. Or if I draw some random Japanese character up here, you're being exposed to Japanese, but you don't really understand it at all. And then next we have awareness, where we recognize it. So awareness is here, where we're in the passive vocabulary. So you can think about level 3 as like out here. Maybe like you're at the airport and you hear somebody talking, but you don't really understand what they say. So as we get closer to the active vocabulary, it really just means we understand something very well. So this is where we own that vocabulary. I think someone mentioned at the beginning of this video about the difference between own something and have it. When we talk about owning vocabulary, it means you really feel confident, you really understand that, you have no doubt. All right. So when you have no doubt, that's where you move things from the passive vocabulary into the active vocabulary. All right. Now we can also talk about passive and active as just like maybe you do actually feel confident, but you just don't use that vocabulary very much. So that's okay. But I think it's more important for a learner to understand it this way, where we're moving up here as you get more examples, as you understand something better. And the goal is to eliminate the doubt that you have about vocabulary, and that's when you start to speak. Okay, so that's what we're going with that. I think there was a second part to that. Let's see. So speaking with natives or not natives is just practice, or what do you think about that? So again, connected with this, the idea of practicing something, it just means getting more examples and understanding something better. So you could understand something with just one example, but typically you would not. All right. So if I hold up, like, just to give you this is kind of a bad lesson in Japanese, but just to give you an example of how this works. If I just say murasaki, you don't really know for sure what I mean. So I'm exposing you at level 3, I'm exposing you to the language. Murasaki. I could say it slowly. I could have you repeat the word again and again. You could try to write the word down, murasaki. So if I do that, I'm still not really helping you understand what the word means. All right? Because you don't know if I'm talking about maybe the fabric, or I'm talking about the color, or I'm talking about the object. Maybe this, do I mean shirt? What do I mean by murasaki? All right? So this is why when people are learning new vocabulary, they usually just get translations. So they hear the word in English, they get a translation of that word in their native language, and then that's it. But like I gave with the marker example, the reason I give this marker example is because it helps you compare these different things. If I just show you one thing, it's probably not very helpful for you. Okay? So I could just give you a translation like, wo, aka, ao, murasaki. Aka, ao, murasaki. Now that might mean a little bit, maybe he's talking about, like, I think I get it a little bit more. Because maybe if you understand something about colors already, I'm taking an idea you already know, like, ao, aka, murasaki. Okay, and now you're thinking, so that feeling that you get as I make the example more clear, again, I'm doing this, it's not English, I'm just doing it in Japanese. But the point is, when you're trying to learn like this, we want to help the brain understand things in the language you're learning, not trying to learn it through some other language. So just to make this very quick, murasaki means purple. Okay? But hopefully I can help you understand that, and you discover that for yourself. If you discover that when you feel like, I got it, that's much better for your brain, for your memory, for your confidence, for your motivation, than if I just gave you a list of words and translations of them. Okay? So all of these things are very important, how you do it, and that's why I teach the way I do, because I want to help you discover things and arrive at that conclusion yourself. If I just give you the answer, then you probably won't remember it. Okay? All right, the chat got kind of quiet. Hopefully hopefully that example makes sense to people. But that's why I do teach the way I do. All right, let's see here. All right, so the last point I'll mention is kind of a long response to this, but it's important. The last thing I'll mention about talking with natives is, again, like the practice I'm giving you that helps you understand something, or these examples that we're talking about here, you don't need to speak to do that. What you need is examples and speech from other people who know the language well and who can teach the language well. All right, so when you're in a conversation, you don't get better by speaking more. You maybe improve like a tiny bit, just maybe feeling a bit more confident, but you actually improve much more from getting examples and things you understand from other people in the conversation. So that's when it's useful to talk with a native. But unfortunately, a lot of people are trying to talk before they feel confident about what they know. So if you are not confident, if you have doubts about vocabulary, you won't use that vocabulary. So it doesn't matter if you have natives to speak with or not. It's not going to help you. Instead, you can improve very quickly by yourself, but just by getting more examples of things. All right, so you want to get enough varied examples that you understand something and feel very confident about it. That's the goal. Let's see, receiver says, hi again, good morning. Let's see, una pregunta, solo hablas en inglés. If you have a question about that, English, I answered that one already. Let's see, Azure says, I'm now learning English in the EFL way, but it seems that I have trouble building sentences quickly. Well, just make sure you understand the individual pieces of whatever you're learning. Like, if you have trouble building sentences, it means you have trouble understanding words or grammar or something like that. So get smaller, try to get to the smallest thing you need to understand. It could be a word that you're struggling with or a grammar point or something. Focus on that, all right? So this is why we break down lessons in Fluent for Life in that way. Drew is from the United States, but he also speaks English, Japanese, that's true. Yep, so owl. Let's see, should I learn Japanese like that? I just started to learn it by myself because I know like 20 words in Japanese. Is it how to learn a language from zero without notes, papers, etc.? Yes, if you think about how Japanese children get fluent, it's the same way English-speaking children get fluent. We all get fluent in our native language the same way, as we get lots of examples that help us understand and eliminate the doubt that we have. Because even children, if they feel unsure about vocabulary, they will probably say something else, just like that example I gave with my daughter. So she wanted to say something, but she thought, maybe I'm not saying this correctly, I'm going to say something different. All right, so she did. The process was very quick, but I pay attention to things like that because I'm like always teaching them things and helping them understand things. All right. But yes, you would still, like I'm learning like Japanese kanji, so that's the written characters. And I do actually take time to write it down. It's helpful for me to understand the vocabulary and actually remember it and write it down. So it's not like, well, I don't use papers or whatever. That's the benefit of being an adult. We can actually learn faster than children because we have more ability to focus. Maybe we have better times or scheduling, or we can choose how we want to learn. So we have lots of advantages over children, and that's why we can get faster than them if we want to. But that means you have to be focusing not on learning Japanese or English or whatever the language is. You have to be learning it all in that language. So that's how you understand it. Let's see, Jess says, I would like to learn Japanese, but for me, house Spanish speaker, maybe it's a bit difficult, but I grew up watching anime. I know a few expressions, gambatte, itadakimasu, arigato, madane, kanpai, and so, yeah. Yeah, so again, like if you're getting those examples from, like you probably understood those things, it's like, kanpai, you know, and then we drink. And you can get from the situation, oh, kanpai probably means cheers or salute or, you know, whatever it is in your native language. So when you learn things like that, you're learning it like in the natural way, all right? So learning it as a first language rather than learning it through your native language. But if you try to take a longer sentence and translate that, that's where it becomes much more complicated and difficult for you because it's too much information for your brain to understand. But you could do it, and there's no there's no like logical difference between any of the languages in their difficulty. The difficulty comes more from the writing. So going from learning like knowing English and the English alphabet to learning Japanese, there are 3 different written scripts for Japanese, and they actually still use English characters as well. So it's technically 4. But that's the tricky thing. But children, again, they learn different languages all over the world at basically the same rate. All right. I don't think there's a country or a language where children learn much faster than any other. I'm not aware of that. Let's see, there's an internet problem, or there's a network problem, or something else. Is that a question? Your examples are great, glad to hear it. I would like to learn Arabic. Yeah, so however you're trying to learn, get the same kind of thing. All right, I've watched all of your videos on YouTube, but I think to be sure I need to revise them. You've watched all of the videos? There's like 600 of them. You've seen them all? Amazing. Let's see. Again, and if you know other people who would enjoy them, do recommend the channel. Let's see. Mio says, great, Eunice, until you get the aha moment. The phone battery is running out. Yes. So again, we're looking for that moment where we really understand something well, and that's when we start speaking. Now, are songs helpful to improve our pronunciation or be more fluently or fluent? What kind of song would you recommend? Well, songs that you enjoy and understand. That's what you look for. I actually learn a lot of Japanese from children's music because I watch children's TV shows with my kids, and I'm learning that same vocabulary while they're learning it. Dino says, hey, Drew, how's it going? Excellent class. Could you speak more about take? We know that it is very confusing how take and get. I've actually made a video about both of those, I think. Just search the channel. But maybe I'll cover those in a future lesson. After learning the word I am trying to learn, I form 5 examples using the word at least for practice as Mahak. Yeah, again, it doesn't matter. You could understand something and feel confident and remember the word with 1 example. The point is not just to get lots of examples, but you should just get different examples until you really understand something. So keep trying to approach something from different perspectives until you get it. All right, it's like like even me as a teacher, I will continue to try to help people understand something. But if I see they don't understand one way, I'll have to do it in a different way. But I just like keep going from different angles to help you understand something. So acquisition versus understanding. Acquisition is understanding thoroughly. Yes, understanding in order to feel confident using a language. Yeah, I don't worry about like you should acquire the language rather than learn it. Like those kind of distinctions is less helpful for students just trying to get fluent. Like people don't care about all that. That's more the way linguists would talk about it, and some subtle difference in like learning or being taught versus acquiring the language. But the goal is just eliminating doubt. That's the main idea. So that's all I really explain to people, or the best way I can think of to explain that to people. So you must eliminate the doubt. That's what stops you from speaking. So however you do that, it could be listening to songs or playing games or reading books or whatever, but eliminate the doubt. All right, that's the same thing that applies to everyone. Let's see. Manish says, I can understand you 100%, but can't speak. Can you please rate my English level? Well, I would say your understanding level is okay for my level of English. That's all I can say. I mean, just looking at a comment like that. So I know people want like a rating for themselves, but the truth is you can rate your own English when you're in a conversation, and either you understand people or you do not. And if you do not, then it means you're not probably learning the same kind of English that they're actually using. I should talk about that in a future video as well. Aha moment required to change the phone battery. I feel the same thing. Or charge the phone battery, excuse me. Make lives about informal conversation in public spaces. Well, you can see actual conversation videos I have right on the channel. It's already done. Sergio says, thank you for your classroom. It's my pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the lesson. Glad to be here. Oh, yasuminasai. It's 4 a.m. Oh my goodness. Have a nice rest of your day. Yes, and it is. What time is it here? It's like 11 o'clock. Time for me to end this lesson. I think we got through all the comments. So thank you all for joining us. Look at that. We took an hour to go through this, but hopefully this makes sense. You can actually speak fluently today. That's the main lesson here. If you take something and focus on it until you really understand it. And it could go through, it could take you 1 minute or 5 minutes or longer than that. But if you get some good examples to really help you understand something, that's where you will eliminate the doubt you have, and that's what will help you feel confident, okay? So as you, it's like you have, let's say 100% doubt when you don't understand anything. Like I put you in a room full of Chinese speakers and you don't speak Chinese at all, you would have 100% doubt. But over time, you would feel a little bit more confident because you would understand a little bit. And again, if you're getting lots of good examples that really help you understand something, the process goes much faster. All right, so it is possible to do this by yourself, but if you would like help, that's what we do in Fluent for Life. All right, thank you. And let's see. Summer is asking about the pronunciation. Wait, could you please explain how to pronounce is there? Is that what you mean? Is there? Also, if you'd like to hear me pronounce words, just get Frederick. You can click on the link in the description below this video, and you can start hearing me pronounce all of these different words. XCL, nice to see you there. Want to start a video maker career, but got to reach the eligibility criteria for YPP. I have a trouble. I understand almost all that you were talking in the video, but I can't speak as cool as I can hear. Yes, there are lots of reasons for this, but the number one reason is you just have lots of doubt because of how you were taught the language. So most people are taught English as a second language, and it creates a lot more doubt and worries and questions about the language. And it also, another really big problem is that it's not teaching you the real language that natives use in conversations. So it's slower and it's easier, usually more clear, and the vocabulary is just easier to understand because people are using simpler vocabulary. So that's what I'm doing in these videos. I'm giving you simple vocabulary. But I'm speaking a little bit faster than I'm not. It's not my like normal speaking speed, but when I'm speaking with non-natives, that's how I speak. All right. So I want to make sure I'm understood, so I can anticipate usually what words you would know, and then I'm just using those. So rather than putting a whole bunch of idioms or slang or phrasal verbs that you don't know, I would just use regular vocabulary that you do know. So if you understand what I'm saying, but you still have trouble speaking, we solve that problem in Fluent for Life. That's the whole point of that program, is to solve that problem. Your lives are only on Sundays. Sometimes they are on Thursdays as well. So this week I should have one on Thursday, probably my Thursday. There is an apple, is there an apple? There you go. Thanks for your class. See you. Thank you for the amazing content. When do you usually stream? So typically it is around this time on Mondays and Thursdays. So I think this month that should be the schedule, maybe 2 times a week. We'll see. If I'm not here, then maybe there is just some problem or something, maybe not a big deal. But typically Mondays and Thursdays, Japan time. So right now it's Monday morning here in Japan. Daniel says, Drew, can we have a conversation in English without the use of phrasal verbs? It's possible. Sure, you could. You don't need to use phrasal verbs, but it's very easy if you do. And most of the vocabulary you would use, like if you any basic preposition, any basic verb, like run, go, play, walk, speak, all of those, or like to, in, on, at. So if you know those words, you would be able to probably understand that phrasal verb using a combination of those things. All right. I think it says, Eunice, take care. And Diana says, hello, teacher. I remember one day I told you that I did not understand Obama, but now I have no problem. I can get him well. Glad to hear it. You probably focused on getting more examples of him speaking. All right. So if you do find someone you'd like to listen to, get more examples of that person. All right. So people who watch my videos a lot, they come to understand me very well. And then I add little individual, new phrases or things like that because they understand everything else that I'm saying. Receives a need kind of reloading. Perfect. Thanks, Drew. All right, well, I will end it there. Thank you all for joining me. If you would like help getting fluent, again, you can do it by yourself, but if you'd like to do it much easier and just have a more enjoyable time, then click on the links in the description below this video. All right, we'll leave it with Annette. Thanks a lot and happy Easter. Happy Easter, everyone out there. Enjoy your day. I'll see you next time. Murasaki.